I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. Yes, I would. If I only could, I surely would. You're welcome. Wild is directed by Jean-Marc Vallée, and it stars Reese Witherspoon as Cheryl Strayed. This film is based on an autobiographical book of the same name, which basically tells the story of a woman who goes on a cross-country hike in order to try and get past some difficult moments in her life, and maybe expel a few demons along the way. Now, there is a bit of Oscar buzz surrounding Reese Witherspoon's performance in this film, and that's pretty well founded because she does a very good job in this film, and especially dealing with a very difficult character. This character's range of emotions and all the things that she goes through runs the gamut. There were a lot of good moments in this film where you're rooting for this character and you want her to succeed. However, the overall telling of the character I did find a bit odd. In one sense, it seemed like they were trying to hold back some of the things of this character that were a bit darker and difficult, and not reveal too much of them at the outset. But they also gave you little snippets of them early in the film. And I'm not exactly sure how to take that. It was as if I was seeing these moments out of context, knowing that they had something to do with the story and how it's going to progress, but I didn't know why it was there. A lot of this movie is them alluding to a moment that they're waiting to reveal, and it's not particularly effective. It wasn't for me. Ultimately, when I get to those moments, by that point, I have already kind of figured out what they are, and so they're not quite as impactful. I don't know, it was kind of odd and jarring to me, and it felt like it was done just to do it because it was different and not in order to help me understand the film any better. Another small problem I had with this film I didn't expect, and that was product placement. I mean, this is supposed to be this existential journey from a girl trying to find her way, but apparently she can't do it without her Snapple and her new boots from REI. And as it turns out, REI didn't actually pay for any product placement in this film. This is actually in the book because the author was very impressed with the company and how they tried to help her on this journey. And so she decided to credit them in the book and then also in the movie. It may work in the book, but it doesn't in the film, okay? You're already asking us to identify with a rather messed up individual, which is fine, but don't then ask us to give a crap about your excellent customer service experience. Just tell us your story. Why is that so difficult? Don't take us out of it by using something that we typically find annoying in films, instead of being immersed in this story. That's a problem, and it shouldn't have been done, in my opinion. On top of that, as I said before, this character's a pretty difficult one. She's not exactly the nicest person or the most likable, and she does some not-so-great things that she doesn't really show a lot of remorse for. And maybe that's the point. This is based on a real person with real flaws. But it's the director's job to help you identify with this person and feel like you understand them as the film progresses. Ultimately, I found myself disliking this character more as the film went on, and it's supposed to happen the opposite way. If I'm being perfectly honest, and I almost hate to say it, I struggled with the idea that this character and the story were all a bit pretentious to me. Apparently the idea that a woman is doing this trail is a bit of a rarity. And so these fellow hikers, they turn her into this kind of rather smallish celebrity because of these entries that she's made in trail journals along the way. Meanwhile, these people all seem to catch up with her on this trail and proceed to tell her how awesome she is. They've all apparently fallen in love with her because of a sentence that she wrote down in a little book. you know. And I just found it hard to believe that no one has ever quoted Robert Frost in a trail journal before. It's these moments with these other hikers that are some of the most tedious of the film, because they just kind of feel fake and annoying. Now, I know a lot of people really like this film. It's getting some really good reviews. And I don't really consider myself the type of a reviewer that just tries to tear down a movie just to do it. For some reason, this just didn't really connect with me. But I know there are a lot of people out there that will like this. So if this seems like this is up your alley, then give it a try and go and see it. Reese Witherspoon does give a really good performance in this film. But for me, I have to give it a 3.5 out of 5. So, have you seen Wild? What did you think about it? Leave a comment below and tell me how wrong I am, because that's really what it's there for. And as always, click right here if you like what you see, and subscribe to even more of me.